What if the biggest mistake men make with women is trying too hard? You meet a woman, she laughs at your jokes, she gives you attention, the conversation flows easily. For a moment it feels like something real is starting to happen. And naturally you lean in, you text more, you try to impress her, you give compliments, you show interest. But slowly, something changes. Her replies become shorter, the excitement fades. The energy that once felt electric suddenly turns cold, and you're left wondering what went wrong. Let's be honest, most men believe attraction is about saying the right things, doing more, showing more effort. But in reality, seduction doesn't work that way, because seduction is a game most men are playing completely blind. It's not about chasing harder, it's not about proving your value, and it's definitely not about overwhelming her with attention. The real shift happens when you begin to understand the hidden rules that govern attraction. Rules built on contrast, mystery, emotional control, and quiet confidence. In this video, you're going to discover why attention is not the same as desire, why trying too hard quietly kills attraction, and how the most attractive men create curiosity without forcing anything. More importantly, you'll learn the psychological trick that changes the entire dynamic between you and her. Once you see it, you won't interact with women the same way again. Let's get into it. Number 1. Most men don't see the game. Let's start with a truth most men don't want to hear. When it comes to attraction, most men are playing the game completely blind. They think seduction is about saying the right words, sending the perfect message, or showing a woman how much they like her, so they try harder. They give more attention, they respond faster, they compliment more. But the strange thing is, the harder they try, the less interested she seems to become. Let's be real for a moment. This is exactly where most men lose the game without even realizing it. Because seduction isn't about effort alone, it's about perception. It's about how a woman feels when she experiences your presence, not how hard you try to prove yourself. And when a man doesn't understand that, he starts reacting instead of leading. Let me give you a simple example. John is 46. He recently got back into dating after a long relationship ended. One evening, he meets a woman named Lisa, 39, at a small wine bar in Chicago. They talk for almost an hour. Lisa laughs, easily touches his arm once, while telling a story, and asks him a few personal questions. From John's perspective, everything feels promising. So when he gets home, he does what many men do. He sends her a message right away, then another one later that night. The next morning, he sends a long text telling her how much he enjoyed meeting her. At first, Lisa responds politely, but slowly something changes. Her replies get shorter. She takes longer to respond. The playful energy they had at the bar disappears. John is confused. In his mind, he did everything right. He showed interest. He was kind. He was attentive. But what he didn't see was the game unfolding underneath the interaction. You see, attraction often lives in the space between certainty and curiosity. When everything becomes too clear too quickly, the mystery disappears, and mystery is one of the engines of desire. Here's another example. Michael, 52, has been married for 20 years. He loves his wife Karen, 48, deeply, but lately he feels like the spark between them has faded. So Michael decides to try harder. He buys gifts more often. He constantly checks in with messages during the day. He tells Karen how beautiful she is almost every evening. His intentions are good, but the more he pushes for connection, the more pressured Karen begins to feel. The problem again isn't effort, it's awareness. Many men believe attraction grows through constant reassurance. But in reality, attraction grows through emotional contrast, moments of warmth mixed with space, curiosity mixed with calm confidence. The men who naturally create attraction often aren't trying harder. They're simply aware of the rhythm. They understand when to speak and when to pause, when to lean in and when to let tension build. And that awareness is what most men never develop. Now, Here's something important to understand. Seeing the game doesn't mean manipulating women. It means recognizing the psychological dynamics happening in every interaction. When you see those dynamics clearly, you stop reacting emotionally. You stop chasing validation, and you begin to move through the interaction with calm control. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. How many times have you looked back at a situation with a woman and realized later that you completely misread what was happening? If that's happened to you, comment this below. I see the game. 3 simple words, but they mark the moment a man stops playing blind. And stick around, because the next piece is where things become even more revealing. Most men think attention from a woman means attraction, but in reality, those two things are completely different. Number 2, attention is not desire. Now here's one of the biggest misunderstandings men have about attraction. They believe that if a woman gives them attention, it must mean she desires them. But those two things are not the same. Attention simply means she notices you. She may enjoy the conversation. She may find you interesting. She may even enjoy the moment. But desire is something deeper. Desire is when a woman feels pulled toward you emotionally and physically. It's not just that she likes talking to you. It's that something about your presence creates tension, curiosity, and a sense of intrigue. And many men confuse these two signals. Let's be honest for a second. A woman can laugh at your jokes, respond to your texts, and enjoy your company without feeling real attraction. Why? Because attention is easy to give. It costs almost nothing. But desire is selective. Desire grows slowly, and it responds to something very specific: emotional energy. When a man receives attention and immediately tries to convert it into certainty, he often kills the very thing he's hoping to create. Think about how this usually happens. A woman shows interest in a conversation. She responds warmly. Maybe she asks a few questions or smiles during the interaction. Instead of allowing the moment to breathe, many men rush forward. They increase their texting. They start complimenting more often. They try to secure the interaction as quickly as possible. What they are really doing is chasing confirmation. But confirmation removes tension, and tension is one of the key ingredients of attraction. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "He who desires too much loses his freedom." That principle applies perfectly here. When a man becomes too eager for reassurance, he loses the calm presence that made him attractive in the first place. Instead of being someone she's curious about, he becomes someone seeking approval. And approval-seeking energy changes the entire dynamic of the interaction. You see, attraction thrives when a man remains centered in himself. When he enjoys the interaction without needing it to prove something about his worth. This doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means understanding the difference between appreciation and attachment. You can appreciate attention without assuming it means desire. You can enjoy the conversation without rushing to secure the outcome. And ironically, that calm restraint is often what allows real attraction to grow. Because when you don't chase confirmation, you create space. Space for curiosity. Space for imagination. Space for her to wonder about you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." You cannot control whether someone feels desire, but you can control your reaction to attention. And when a man stops confusing the two, something interesting begins to happen. He stops over-investing too early. He stops chasing signals that were never meant to be guarantees. Instead, he remains grounded, observant, and patient. Now I want you to think about your own experiences. How many times have you assumed a woman was attracted to you simply because she was friendly or responsive? If you've realized that difference before, write this in the comments. I see the difference. 3 simple words, but they represent an important shift in awareness. And stay with me, because the next part explains something even more important. We're going to talk about the fastest way men accidentally destroy attraction, often within the first few conversations. Number 3, the fastest way to kill attraction. Now let's talk about the fastest way men accidentally destroy attraction. And here's the irony. Most men do it while trying to do the right thing. They believe that if a woman shows even a small amount of interest, the best move is to lean in harder, show more effort, be more available, give more compliments, make their intentions crystal clear. But in reality, that reaction often kills the very tension that was starting to build. Let's be honest for a moment. Attraction needs a certain amount of uncertainty, not confusion, not manipulation, but a small space where curiosity can grow. When a man rushes to remove that space, desire often collapses. Let me give you a simple example. David is 42, and he meets a woman named Amanda, 37, at a friend's birthday dinner in Austin. They end up sitting next to each other and quickly fall into a lively conversation. Amanda laughs at several of his stories, asks about his work, and even lightly teases him once or twice. The energy feels natural. When the dinner ends, they exchange numbers. So far, everything is going well. But later that night, David sends Amanda a long message, telling her how much he enjoyed meeting her. The next morning, he sends another message, wishing her a great day. By the afternoon, he sends a meme he thinks she'll like. From his perspective, he's simply being attentive. But from Amanda's perspective, the dynamic has already shifted. The playful tension from the dinner has disappeared. Instead of wondering about David, she now feels like he's already emotionally invested. And when curiosity disappears, attraction often fades with it. Here's another situation that shows the same pattern. Ryan, 48, meets a woman named Claire, 41, at a weekend art event in Seattle. They talk for a while, and Claire seems genuinely engaged. She asks questions, smiles often, and the conversation flows easily. Ryan interprets that as a clear signal. So, he begins escalating quickly, compliments about her appearance, long messages about how rare it is to meet someone like her, suggestions about future plans before the connection has had time to develop. Claire doesn't react negatively, but the energy cools. Her responses become polite rather than excited. What happened here wasn't a mistake in intention, it was a mistake in timing. Attraction doesn't grow through urgency, it grows through rhythm. When two people meet, there's a natural pacing to emotional tension. Curiosity rises, pauses, then rises again. Small moments of connection, followed by small moments of space. But when one person rushes to secure the connection too quickly, that rhythm collapses, and without rhythm, desire struggles to breathe. Let's be real, this doesn't mean you should act cold or distant. It simply means you allow the interaction to unfold instead of forcing it forward. You let curiosity stay alive. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever looked back at a situation and realized that you pushed things forward too quickly and the attraction disappeared right after? If you've experienced that before, comment this below. I slow the pace. 3 simple words, but they represent a powerful shift in awareness. And keep watching because the next part reveals something even more interesting. Real attraction doesn't grow from effort. It grows from something most men never think about: contrast. Number 4. Desire grows from contrast. Now here's a concept most men never think about, yet it quietly controls almost every attraction dynamic between a man and a woman. Desire grows from contrast, not constant effort, not constant attention. Contrast. Let's be honest for a moment. Human emotions respond far more strongly to change than to repetition. When something is always the same, the mind adapts to it quickly. It becomes predictable, and once something becomes predictable, it loses intensity. This is true in almost every part of life. Music works because of rhythm and variation. Conversations feel alive because of pauses and shifts in tone. Even storytelling holds attention through moments of tension followed by moments of release. Attraction follows the same psychological pattern. When a man is constantly available, constantly attentive, constantly predictable, He removes the emotional contrast that makes interactions feel exciting. But when a man moves with calm control, sometimes warm, sometimes quiet, sometimes playful, sometimes focused, he creates emotional movement. And movement creates curiosity. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change." In other words, the world itself operates through contrast, day and night, action and rest, speech and silence, and attraction responds to the same rhythm. When a man understands this, he stops trying to impress a woman through constant effort. Instead, he allows moments to breathe. Sometimes he leans into the conversation. Other times, he lets silence sit for a second longer than expected. Sometimes he shows interest. Other times, he returns his focus to his own world, his work, his purpose, his life. This creates something powerful. It signals that his attention is valuable, and valuable things are never constant. Now here's where many men misunderstand this idea. Contrast is not manipulation. It's not pretending to be distant. It's not playing emotional games. True contrast comes naturally when a man has a full life outside of the interaction, when his attention is not driven by anxiety or the need for approval, when he enjoys the moment but remains grounded in himself. That quiet balance is what creates the emotional rhythm women often respond to. A man who understands contrast doesn't chase every moment of connection. He allows tension to rise and fall naturally, the same way a skilled musician allows silence to shape the music. Before we continue, let me quickly mention something. If you enjoy learning about these deeper psychological dynamics, how attraction really works beneath the surface, and how Stoic philosophy can help you develop calm confidence and emotional control, you might find a lot of value in the membership connected to this channel. Inside the membership, we go deeper into topics like masculine presence, emotional discipline, and the subtle psychology behind attraction that most men never fully understand. If that sounds interesting to you, you can explore the membership through the link connected to the channel. Now, stay with me, because the next piece reveals something that completely shifts the dynamic between men and women. And once you understand it, you'll never look at compliments and validation the same way again. Number 5. Stop giving easy validation. Now let's talk about something that quietly destroys attraction faster than most men realize. Easy validation. At first, this might sound confusing. After all, many men believe that complimenting a woman and showing approval is the best way to make her feel attracted. But here's the problem. When validation is given too easily, it loses its value. Let's be honest for a moment. Compliments today are incredibly common. A woman posts a photo online and receives dozens of comments telling her she looks amazing. Strangers tell her she's beautiful. Co-workers give polite praise. Friends offer constant encouragement. So, when a man enters her life and immediately starts giving the same kind of approval, he doesn't stand out. He blends in. And attraction rarely grows from being predictable. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Mark is 45, and he meets a woman named Danielle, 38, at a networking event in Denver. Danielle is confident, funny, and clearly used to attention. During their conversation, she tells a story about traveling through Spain, and Mark listens with interest. But almost immediately, Mark begins praising her. "You're amazing. You're so interesting. Honestly, you're probably the most fascinating person I've met here tonight." Now his intention is good. He wants Danielle to feel appreciated. But something subtle happens in the interaction. Instead of creating intrigue, Mark's compliments remove tension. Danielle already knows she has his approval. There's no mystery left about how he feels. The interaction becomes comfortable, but not exciting. Now, compare that with a different situation. Ethan, 49, meets a woman named Rachel, 42, at a small gallery opening in San Francisco. Rachel mentions she works as a photographer and has spent years capturing street life in different cities. Instead of immediately praising her, Ethan pauses and listens. Then he says something simple. That sounds like a life that takes a lot of courage. Notice the difference. Ethan isn't handing out approval cheaply. He's recognizing something specific about her character. His words feel thoughtful rather than automatic, and because he doesn't overwhelm her with praise, his validation carries weight. Rachel feels seen rather than flattered. That difference matters more than most men realize. When validation is rare and thoughtful, it becomes meaningful. But when it's constant and automatic, it becomes background noise. This doesn't mean you should avoid compliments entirely. It means you give them with intention. You acknowledge qualities that truly stand out to you, instead of offering generic approval just to keep the interaction alive. Because attraction isn't built on constant reassurance. It's built on emotional discovery. When a woman senses that your approval isn't easily earned, something interesting happens. She begins paying closer attention. She becomes curious about how you see her and what actually impresses you. And curiosity is one of the strongest forces in attraction. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever realized that the more compliments you gave someone, the less exciting the interaction started to feel? If you've experienced that moment before, comment this below. I value my approval. 3 simple words, but they reflect a powerful shift in mindset. And keep watching, because the next part reveals a principle that makes attraction even more intriguing. It's the quiet power of mystery. And why not revealing everything about yourself can be far more attractive than trying to impress. Number 6. The power of controlled mystery. Now, let's talk about something that quietly fuels attraction more than most men realize. Mystery. But not the kind that comes from playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. Real attraction grows from controlled mystery. In other words, not revealing everything about yourself too quickly. Let's be honest here. Many men believe that the best way to build attraction is through transparency. They think they should explain their intentions clearly, share everything about themselves, and remove all uncertainty from the interaction. But, paradoxically, that approach often weakens attraction. Why? Because desire thrives on discovery. When everything about you becomes obvious, within the first few conversations, the emotional journey ends before it even begins. Curiosity disappears, and without curiosity, attraction struggles to grow. Think about it this way. When you watch a great movie, the story doesn't reveal everything in the first 10 minutes. The tension builds gradually. New details appear slowly. Each scene reveals just enough to keep your attention while leaving something still unknown. Human attraction follows the same psychological rhythm. When someone senses there is more to discover about you, more depth, more experiences, more layers, they become naturally curious. And curiosity creates emotional engagement. This doesn't mean being secretive or evasive. Controlled mystery simply means allowing conversations to unfold naturally instead of trying to explain yourself all at once. For example, when someone asks about your work or your life experiences, you don't need to give a full autobiography immediately. A short answer, followed by a shift in conversation, often leaves space for the other person to ask more questions later. That space is where curiosity grows. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Be mostly silent or speak only what is necessary." This idea wasn't about social awkwardness, it was about self-command. A person who speaks only what is necessary communicates something powerful, calm, confidence. They don't feel the need to prove themselves through constant explanation. And that quiet self-control creates intrigue. Because when someone senses that you are comfortable not revealing everything at once, it suggests that your value does not depend on immediate approval. Your presence speaks for itself. Now here's where controlled mystery becomes especially important. Many men try to secure attraction through constant reassurance. They want to define the connection quickly, so they know where they stand. But the more quickly everything becomes defined, the less emotional tension remains. And tension is one of the engines of desire. When a man remains calm, grounded and slightly unpredictable in how much he reveals. Something interesting begins to happen. The woman starts leaning forward emotionally. She begins asking more questions. She wonders what else she hasn't discovered yet. Her mind stays engaged even after the interaction ends. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That same principle applies here. A man who lives with purpose and inner discipline naturally carries mystery, not because he's hiding anything, but because his life has depth that cannot be explained in a single conversation. And that depth becomes quietly attractive. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the people who reveal everything about themselves immediately often become predictable very quickly? If you understand the value of mystery, comment this below. I keep my mystery. 3 simple words that reflect a powerful shift in mindset. And stay with me because the next piece reveals something even deeper. We're about to talk about the emotional quality that many women find more attractive than charm looks or clever words: calm, masculine energy. Number 7. Calm energy creates desire. Now let's talk about something that many men underestimate, yet women notice almost immediately. Your energy, not your words, not your jokes, not even your appearance. Your energy. Let's be honest here. When a man feels nervous, desperate, or overly eager for approval, that emotional state leaks into the interaction. Even if he says all the right things, the underlying energy communicates something different. It says he is seeking validation, and the moment that happens, attraction begins to weaken. But when a man carries calm energy, when he is relaxed, centered, and emotionally steady, the entire interaction feels different. Calmness creates gravity. Let me give you a simple example. Kevin is 44 and meets a woman named Sarah, 36, at a small cocktail bar in Nashville. The bar is crowded and the music is loud. Several people around them are trying hard to impress each other, talking fast, laughing loudly, competing for attention. Kevin does something different. He speaks slowly. He listens more than he talks. When Sarah tells a story about her recent hiking trip, he doesn't interrupt or rush to relate it back to himself. He simply listens, and when he finally responds, his tone is relaxed. "You seem like someone who enjoys real adventure." That's it. No overreaction. No attempt to impress. But Sarah feels something shift. Kevin's calm presence stands out from the chaotic energy around them. Instead of feeling like he's trying to win her attention, she senses that he is comfortable in himself. That calmness becomes magnetic. Here's another situation. Daniel, 49, meets a woman named Monica, 42, at a mutual friend's dinner party in San Diego. During the evening, Monica jokingly teases Daniel about his serious expression. Some men would react defensively or try to prove they are funnier or more exciting. Daniel just smiles slightly and says, "Maybe I'm just listening carefully." Then he continues the conversation as if nothing happened. Monica laughs, but more importantly, she notices something. Daniel didn't react emotionally to the tease. He stayed centered, and that kind of emotional stability is deeply attractive because calm energy signals strength. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "A man who rules himself is greater than one who conquers cities." What he meant was simple. True power is not about controlling other people. It's about controlling your own reactions. And when a man demonstrates that kind of emotional discipline, women often feel both curiosity and respect. Why? Because emotional stability creates a sense of safety and intrigue at the same time. A calm man does not chase approval. He does not panic when the conversation pauses. He does not overreact to teasing or small tests. Instead, he remains grounded in himself. That grounded energy becomes incredibly attractive because it feels rare. In a world where many people react impulsively and emotionally, calmness stands out. Now here's something important to understand. Calm energy does not mean being cold or distant. It means being fully present without needing the interaction to prove your worth. When a man reaches that state, something subtle happens. Women begin leaning into the interaction, not because he is trying harder, but because his emotional stability creates a sense of intrigue. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the most confident men in a room are often the ones speaking the least, yet people are drawn to them anyway? If you understand that feeling, comment this below. I stay calm. 3 simple words, but they represent one of the most powerful shifts a man can make. And don't go anywhere, because the next part reveals something even more fascinating. We're about to uncover why women sometimes test men without saying a single word. Number 8. The tests she never says. Now here's something many men experience, but very few understand. Women often test men, not with direct questions, not with obvious challenges, but with small behavioral shifts that reveal something important about a man's character. And the reason these tests exist is actually very simple. They reveal how emotionally stable you really are. Let's be honest here. Anyone can appear confident when everything is going smoothly. When the conversation is easy, the attention is flowing, and the energy feels positive, most people look relaxed. But real confidence shows itself when something unexpected happens, when the interaction changes, when tension appears. This is where the unspoken tests begin. For example, sometimes a woman may suddenly take longer to respond to a message that previously had a quick rhythm. Or during a conversation, she might tease you lightly, challenge a statement you made, or playfully disagree with something you said. On the surface, these moments seem small, but psychologically, they serve an important purpose. They reveal whether your confidence is genuine or fragile. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This principle applies perfectly to situations like this, because the real test is never the comment itself. The real test is your reaction. A man who immediately becomes defensive, irritated, or anxious reveals that his emotional balance depends on the interaction going perfectly. But a man who remains calm, who can smile, respond lightly, or simply stay grounded, communicates something powerful without saying much at all. He demonstrates self-command, and self-command is deeply attractive. Now, here's where many men misunderstand these moments. They assume tests are manipulative or negative, but in many cases, they are simply a natural part of how attraction develops. Think of them as emotional calibration. Just as people instinctively evaluate trust and reliability in friendships, romantic interactions also include moments where someone observes how you handle pressure, uncertainty, or playful challenge. These small moments reveal far more about a person's character than any carefully chosen line ever could. And, interestingly, the most confident men rarely react strongly to these situations. They remain relaxed. They treat teasing with humor. They don't rush to defend themselves. Instead, they stay centered in their own frame. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught something similar when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When a man understands this idea deeply, tests stop feeling threatening. They become opportunities. Opportunities to demonstrate calmness. Opportunities to show emotional stability. Opportunities to reveal that his sense of self doesn't depend on constant approval. And when a woman observes that kind of steadiness, something interesting often happens. Her curiosity increases, because emotional stability suggests maturity, strength, and inner discipline. Now, think about your own experiences. Have you ever noticed moments where someone seemed to challenge you playfully, just to see how you would respond? If you've experienced that before, comment this below. I hold my frame. Those 4 words represent a powerful mindset, because when a man learns to stay centered during moments of uncertainty, he stops reacting emotionally to every small shift in an interaction. And keep watching, because the next part reveals something even deeper. We're about to talk about a quality that women feel instantly, even before a man says very much at all. Quiet dominance. Number 9. Quiet dominance she feels. Now let's talk about something women often feel immediately, even before a man says very much. Quiet dominance. And before you misunderstand that phrase, let's clarify something. Quiet dominance is not aggression, it's not loud confidence, and it's definitely not trying to control other people. Real dominance is subtle. It's the calm certainty a man carries in the way he moves, speaks, and makes decisions. Let's be honest for a moment. Many men today believe they must impress women by being overly agreeable. They try to please, accommodate, and adapt constantly. They think attraction grows when they avoid disagreement and make the interaction as comfortable as possible. But something unexpected happens when a man behaves that way. He slowly disappears, not physically, but energetically. When a man constantly adjusts himself to match someone else's expectations, he stops projecting direction. And without direction, attraction struggles to grow. Quiet dominance works differently. It's not about forcing the interaction. It's about carrying a calm sense of leadership inside it. Let me give you an example. Robert is 47 and meets a woman named Emily, 39, at a rooftop bar in Los Angeles. They begin talking casually about travel and photography. At one point, Emily asks what Robert usually does on weekends. Instead of over-explaining or trying to impress her, Robert answers simply, "I usually disappear for a few hours on Saturday mornings and ride my motorcycle along the coast." Emily raises an eyebrow and smiles. "That sounds mysterious." Robert just shrugs slightly and says, "It's peaceful." Notice something here. Robert isn't trying to convince Emily that his life is interesting. He simply states it as part of who he is. There's no need to sell it. That calm certainty creates intrigue. Here's another situation. Anthony is 43 and meets a woman named Natalie, 35, at a mutual friend's house party in Miami. Later in the evening, the group decides to go somewhere else. Several people start debating where to go. Everyone is throwing out different suggestions. Anthony listens quietly for a moment, then says calmly, "There's a small jazz bar 2 blocks away. Let's try that." His tone isn't demanding, it's simply decisive. Natalie glances at him and smiles. Moments like this reveal something subtle but powerful. Leadership without force. Quiet dominance appears when a man is comfortable making decisions, expressing preferences, and holding his ground without becoming defensive or aggressive. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That principle applies perfectly here. A man who carries quiet authority doesn't need to constantly prove himself. His behavior already communicates confidence, and that kind of confidence feels different from the loud, performative version many people associate with dominance. Quiet dominance feels steady, it feels grounded, it feels safe, yet exciting at the same time. Because when a woman senses that a man knows who he is and where he stands, she doesn't feel like she needs to manage the interaction. Instead, she can relax into it. Now think about something. Have you ever noticed how the most respected men in a room are often the ones who speak the least? But when they do speak, people listen. That's the energy we're talking about. If you understand that kind of presence, comment this below: "I lead calmly." 3 simple words. But they represent a powerful shift from chasing approval to carrying quiet authority. And stay with me, because the final piece of this puzzle brings everything together. It's the one internal shift that completely changes the entire game. Number 10. Master yourself, win the game. Now we arrive at the final piece. And strangely enough, it has very little to do with women, because the real secret behind attraction is not mastering conversation, body language, or clever tactics. The real secret is mastering yourself. Most men spend years trying to understand women. They analyze signals, search for techniques, and constantly ask the same question: what should I do to make her like me? But that question already reveals the problem. It places the center of power outside of the man. Stoic philosophy has always taught the opposite. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And when you truly understand that idea, something powerful changes. Attraction stops feeling like a game you must win. Instead, it becomes a natural result of the man you are. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. David is 52 and works as an architect in Seattle. One evening, he meets a woman named Laura, 42, at a small wine tasting event. Their conversation is relaxed, light, and easy. At one point, Laura jokingly asks him, "So, what's the secret to your calm energy?" David smiles slightly and replies, "Years of realizing most things aren't worth stressing about." That answer isn't rehearsed. It comes from experience. And Laura notices it immediately, because the most attractive quality a man can carry is not charm. It's emotional stability. Here's another example. Michael is 48 and runs a small consulting business in Chicago. During a dinner gathering with friends, he ends up sitting next to Sarah, 38. At one moment in the conversation, someone asks Michael about a business deal that recently didn't work out. Instead of sounding frustrated or defensive, Michael simply shrugs and says calmly, "It didn't work this time. I learned something useful though." Then he changes the subject. Sarah later tells a friend something interesting. There's something really grounded about him. Notice what created that impression. Not flashy success, not bragging, just self-control. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote something powerful that explains this perfectly. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. A man who governs his thoughts governs his reactions. And a man who governs his reactions governs his life. When you reach that level of internal control, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing validation. You stop worrying about how every interaction is going. You stop needing every woman to like you. And, ironically, that's when attraction becomes strongest, because emotional independence creates a powerful psychological effect. It signals that your identity is already complete. You are not looking for someone to fill a void. You are simply inviting someone into a life that already has direction. And women feel that difference instantly. Let's return briefly to David from earlier. As the wine tasting event ends, Laura asks him if he'd like to grab coffee sometime. David doesn't rush to answer. He smiles and says, "Sure, that sounds like a good idea. Simple, calm, no performance." That's the final lesson. When a man masters his emotions, his reactions, and his purpose, the entire dynamic changes. The game stops controlling him, and that's when he quietly begins to win it. As you've seen throughout this video, attraction is rarely about tricks, lines, or manipulation. It's about understanding the deeper psychology behind human connection. When a man stops chasing approval, controls his emotions, and carries calm confidence, the entire dynamic begins to shift. These principles aren't just about dating. They're about mastering yourself, building inner strength, and living with the kind of quiet authority that naturally draws people toward you. If you want to go deeper into these ideas and unlock exclusive content designed to help you build real masculine presence, consider joining our channel membership. Inside, you'll get access to deeper insights, advanced psychology, and if you found value in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next lessons on psychology, attraction, and Stoic wisdom. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.